This video is going to go over surface area. We're going to look at 3 different shapes. They're going to be rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, and cubes. This page has 2 things we want to talk about. There's the steps for solving for surface area. We'll go through these 5 steps when we get an actual problem. Then this formula chart was at the beginning of your unit if you're in my class. And we're going to look at surface area of specifically prisms today. We will do lateral and total surface area, but we want to make sure you know what those letters represent in the formulas. So if I zoom in real close, capital letter P does not stand for prism. It stands for perimeter of the base. Perimeter of base. Then if I scoot over on the total surface area, the other letter that I need to make sure you understand is capital letter B, and that stands for area of the base. And we'll have both of these on our pages when we get ready to do an exact problem. So on this page, what we want to look at is what does the shape look like in a 3D perspective, and what does the shape look like as a net when it's unfolded and just flat. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to trace over the pieces that I'm talking about. So first of all, capital letter P was supposed to represent perimeter of the base. A prism always has 2 bases, but we just want the perimeter of one base. So when you have a net, it's going to be one of these little pieces that's sticking out on the side. And we only need one of them because we're doing the perimeter of just one base. Okay, and then the height, which would be the line that's connecting the 2 bases, that would be this line. Okay, and then the next part of the formula, it has 2 and capital B. Capital B meant area of the base. So then what I would want to do is shade in the base because I want all the area of it. Okay, now if I do lateral surface area, then again, the perimeter, capital P, of the base. If it's together, it's going to be this piece that's over here on the side. The base is not always the bottom piece that it's sitting on. Okay, so that would be my perimeter. And then the height, letter H, would be the line that's connecting my 2 bases. So it doesn't really matter if you put it on the top, if you put it on the bottom, because this piece is leaning over sideways. But this is going to be the height of the entire base since it's tilted sideways. I could also go ahead and shade in just so you see it from this perspective, area of the base, just like that. Okay. Now if I scoot over and do my triangular prism, same way. The capital P means perimeter of the base. And this is really important because now our base is not a rectangle anymore. It is a triangle. So again, my base would be one of these 2 pieces that are sticking out on the edges on the side here. Then the height of the entire prism, that is the line that is connecting the 2 bases together. And then the other letter that we need to know is capital B, which we said was area of the base. So I would be doing area of one of these triangles. And then I would just double it because I have 2. Now, when I'm looking at it through the other perspective, capital letter P, remember it was a triangle because it was called the triangular prism. So I'm tracing over where is the base. And then I could shade in the base so you could see it from this perspective. When I'm finding area of base, it would be this. And then, whoops. Then the letter H, height of the prism. That is the line that is connecting the two together, the two bases together. It could be on the top, it could be on the side, but it's the line that's connecting the two triangles together. Okay, so there you go. Then for a cube, we have the same thing. Capital letter P means perimeter of the base, and we said these bases are equal. And when you have it in the perspective of the net, it's going to be one of these two little pieces sticking out on the side. And if it's a cube, it really doesn't matter because they're all the same. The next piece, it says capital letter H, or lowercase h, so sorry. Lowercase h is the height of the prism, so it's the line connecting the two bases. So that would be this much. And then capital letter B, area of the base, would be here. And then again, when you have a cube, it really doesn't matter which piece you choose because they're all the same. But capital letter P for lateral, you can just pick a square, trace around it, showing that that represents perimeter. Area of the base, if I show that from this view. And then letter H is height, so that would be a line connecting two bases. So if I wanted, I could do this one. Okay, so now we're actually going to look at an example. Again, I have my chart over here, and I have these steps that I'm going to be looking through so I know which formula to choose. The first thing I need to know is what shape do I have and which piece is the base. So in this particular example, the shape that I have is a rectangular prism. So I'm going to write that down. A rectangular prism. I can look in this chart. I found the surface area section, prism. If I want to do lateral, I am just going to do this little formula that says capital PH. If I needed to do the total, I would still do that section, but then I would also add the two bases. So my first step is I'm going to do lateral surface area. When you look at the formula, P stands for perimeter of the base. So I know if you're in my class, we had this chart a long time ago. It's on somewhere in your journal. But this capital letter P, I'm going to put down, if you can flip back and find it, you can add it there just on your sheet. Capital P means perimeter of the base. And the little letter H, that represents height of the prism. Height of the prism. Which is the line that's connecting the two bases. Okay, I always like to go ahead and outline or shade my base. So I'm going to trace over this shape. Now, the numbers aren't written everywhere. This line is 6, so it's going to transfer itself up, and it's also going to be here or here. It doesn't matter where you want to write it. I'm going to add one in for my model. The 12 is also going to carry itself across to here and also to here. And then the other number is the 2. It's going to also transfer itself down to here and across to here. If you don't want to put all these numbers in the different spots, you don't have to. I'm just going to label mine a little bit more. Okay, so my base. I'm going to shade that in so I know which piece I'm talking about when I get ready to do my perimeter. Go ahead and add a 6 in right there too. Okay, so lateral surface area. The formula for lateral surface area is just capital P H. So the perimeter, the base again is this rectangle, 2, 6, 2, 6. I'm going to put all those together. 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6, which is 16. 8 plus 8 is 16. And then the line that is connecting the base from the top to the bottom, sometimes this is tipped over. This is going to be the height of the prism itself. So now the only thing I would need to do is multiply that times 12. And then 16 times 12 is 192. Now, surface area is always in square units. So my lateral surface would be 192 square feet because this is being measured in feet. So basically what I did real quick right here is I added all these numbers together and then I multiplied them by this, which in turn let me do the surface of each one of these 4 sides, the front, the right, the one in the back, and the one on the left, all at one time. I could do them separately, or I could just do this formula and keep them together. Now, if I need to know the total surface area, my last answer, the parts that I'm missing is the base that I just shaded. So up here, it says add 2 more bases. So the top piece and the bottom piece. Those bases are rectangles. And to do area of a rectangle, you know it's just base times height. So I have 2 of them. And then my numbers were 2 and 6. So 2 times 6 is 12, and then I want 2 of those, so that makes 24. Now, the reason that I just did this separately over here on the side is because I already had this much right here, which was the first part of the formula, and then I do my 2 bases, so I have my 2 bases right here. I'm just going to add these 2 together. To get my total, and that would be 216, and again it's measured in square feet. Okay, the next prism we're going to do is a triangular prism, and I know it's a triangular prism because there is an actual triangle in it. Prisms have rectangular sides, but a triangular prism has a triangle base. So I'm going to fill in the name. Triangular prism. And then I'm going to be doing lateral surface area, and then I'm going to do the total. So over here I'm just going to add in the 2 extra bases. So again, looking up here, a prism, no matter what type of prism it is, the lateral surface area formula is capital PH. So that's what I'm going to start with again. For lateral surface area, it's capital P, H, and those are going to get multiplied together. I'm going to trace over the base, which is the triangle. I'm going to shade it in just because I like to color. But it also helps me distinguish that this piece is my base, so I can identify what numbers are important when I'm needing to work with just the base. You'll also notice that there is a right angle. The right angle is going to be super important when we get ready to do the area of the base. I'm going to just put that in there. There's my right angle. So those two numbers will be important in a second. Again, the formula says capital P, do the perimeter of the base, and then multiply it by the height. Now the other base we can't really see, but this line that's connecting the front to the back, this would be my height of the entire prism. Okay? So the numbers on the triangle are 9 plus 12 plus 15. That makes 36. And then the next step for finding just lateral surface area is multiply it by the height, which we just color coded and labeled as 6. So 36 times 6. And that will be 216. So my lateral surface area is 216 square inches. Again, what I did was I added up the base, the sides that go around it, all into one number, and then I multiplied it times the height of 6 so that I could get these little rectangles that go around the sides. Now what I'm going to do, if I needed to know the total shape, I would be including the two triangle areas themselves. So that's why total adds on and says 2 capital B, base. This base is a triangle. All right, so if I need to do 2 bases, and this one is a triangle is base times height divided by 2. And so the numbers that I was pointing to a second ago, this 9 and 12, those are the ones I want to use over here because they are connecting to form this right angle. This is the base and the height of the triangle. So I'm going to do 9 times 12 divide by 2, but so 9 times 12 is 108 divided by 2. This would make 54, but remember I have 2 bases. So if I needed to do 2 of those, it would just get me back to 108. Now for me to say the total final answer, I would have to put these things together. The lateral faces, the 216, plus 2 bases. So instead of me just saying 2 times 54, I could really just do 108. And then when I did that, I would get 324 for the total surface area. It's in inches, and surface area is always in square units.